Okay, we'll start with this. A bit of news that caught me by surprise. Unbeaten up-and-comer in the featherweight division, Sophie Alisch, transitions to professional road cycling.
She's walking away from boxing.
After a decade in boxing, remaining undefeated as a pro, 10-0, being part of the Olympic team in Germany, and ranking in the world's top 10, Sophie Alisch embarks on a new journey. She transitions into professional road cycling with the aim of reaching the world elite within the next 12 to 16 months, setting her sights on the 2028 Olympics in LA. At 23 years old, Sophie Alisch has achieved numerous milestones in boxing, multiple German championships, the youngest member of the German Olympic team, medals at European and World Championships, and signing her first professional contract with the renowned team Sauerland at just 17. At 14 years old, she made the European boxing history by winning the national U19 Elite Championships. By 21, she was honored with the prestigious Hercule Award as Boxer of the Year, a recognition typically reserved for the sport's biggest names. Alisch broke barriers as the first female boxer to grace the cover of Women's Health magazine, became the third most played athlete with her own character in the video game Undisputed for Xbox and PlayStation, and amass over 1 million followers across her social media platforms, showcasing that she's more than just an athlete. However, merely maintaining a career was not enough for her. She proactively terminated her lucrative contract with promotional giant Wasserman to focus on personal and professional growth aligned with her aspirations. Despite the rigors of professional sports, my goal has always been to find happiness and fulfillment. I've loved boxing and always will, but cycling has long been a passion of mine. This isn't a spontaneous decision, but the culmination of years of admiration and connection to that sport. Now is the right time to pursue this new challenge at the highest level, Alisch stated. She's only 23, so she has plenty of time left to devote to this new discipline.
But when she says that she has loved boxing, I sincerely doubt that.
Mallorca offers Sophie Alisch not only ideal training conditions, but also access to a top-tier expert network. Accustomed to working with the best, she continues this standard in cycling under the guidance of a riding coach with top World Tour successes and in close collaboration with leading sports scientists experienced in elite professional cycling. She focuses on tailoring her speed, endurance, and explosiveness to meet the demands of this new sport, aiming to realize her world-class potential. Sophie Alisch's remarkable transition is being comprehensively documented. The international sports marketing agency, Sport5, is producing a high-quality, long-term documentary that chronicles her journey from the boxing ring to professional cycling, aiming for international distribution. Additionally, Alisch provides regular personal insights into her life as a professional athlete through her extensive social media channels, fostering a direct connection with her community. A significant milestone will be the release of her first book in autumn of this year, a personal narrative bridging two worlds with clear bestseller potential. Embarking on a transition of this magnitude requires more than courage. It demands partners with strategic foresight and a deep understanding of peak performance. Kenyan, one of Europe's leading bike manufacturers, recognized the potential in this extraordinary career move early on. Unwavering determination, athletic prowess, and a resolute commitment to change. As her exclusive equipment partner, Kenyan provides not only advanced professional gear, but also the trust and expertise necessary to view this step not merely as a change, but as the beginning of a purposeful and sustainable career, as opposed to boxing, which Sophie must not have felt was sustainable if she is now leaving. Understand that love,
It's not the way that it's depicted in movies.
it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Love is what endures when times are bad, when times are rough and frustrating, when everything isn't exactly the way that you want it to be, but you stay, you endure. That's love.
Not this.
I'm not chastising Sophie Alisch for making this career move. I'm just being honest that she couldn't have loved boxing that much if at 23 years old, before she's even peaked, before she's even really made a splash in the paid ranks, she decided to do something else. What I take away from it is maybe boxing was something she was interested when she was very young and something that she was kinda good at.
But over time, she realized she doesn't like it that much. She would like to do something else.
That's not love. You have to consider that when Sophie Alisch comes into the paid ranks at a very young age, she already had so many advantages that so many other women that came before her didn't have. Women that stayed in the sport where she's not going to. I immediately think about Amanda Serrano, who did not start out with a major promotional outfit, boxing regularly on television like Sophie did.
Think about Amanda. Amanda was boxing before the money, before the major promotional outfits and big platforms came into it. Now that's love.
Before the audiences even took notice. That's what I'd call love, because love of something endures. In the good times and the bad, love extends beyond the honeymoon.
But when you're walking away from the sport at 23 years old, at 10-0, before you've even fought for an alphabet title, before you've even suffered any setbacks, that's gotta be because you really don't love this thing.
Because just imagine if you did, if you already had suffered some setbacks, you probably would have walked away a long time ago.
Best wishes to her.
But in doing so, in leaving the sport under these circumstances, what that communicates to me is that Sophie never really had what it takes to make it in the sport.
How could she? She up and absconded before things even got difficult, before shit got real.
Men's welterweight news. According to Ring Magazine, Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia's camps are in advanced talks for a rematch as early as December. Rolly Romero won by unanimous decision in their initial meeting back in May, a card that was put on by Turki El Sheikh and Sella. I'm not sure that there's going to be any involvement from them this time out.
I'd be surprised if Turkey wanted to pay for another fight involving those two, because in spite of the big upset it wasn't a fun fight to watch. It wasn't entertaining. Ryan lost because Ryan didn't do anything.
Really bad optics for Ryan. In what was his first fight back after the doping fiasco of last year, when he's under scrutiny and everybody's watching him, he performs like this, and it's almost like you ain't no good without your secret sauce.
Without your aspirin and whatever else you're using behind the scenes.
Ryan's fundamentals were never that good to begin with. Long before he lost to Gervonta Davis by way of knockout, so many forecasted that it's only a matter of time before somebody knocks Ryan out because he goes for these hooks with his chin in the air, eyes closed.
He's got the balance of a newborn baby gazelle.
A few physical gifts aside, a good frame, good height, good strength, and good speed, his fundamentals were always poor. The only guy that I could think of that I thought was worse than Ryan was Rolly, up until Rolly beat him. Of all the guys that fought on that Times Square show, Ryan, at least on paper, got the easiest assignment. You know, Teofimo had to deal with Arnold. Devin had to deal with a former champion in Jose Ramirez, whereas Ryan, he ended up with Rolly in a fight everybody expected him to win, a fight I expected him to win.
He lost.
Not but a few days ago, Ryan Garcia expressed an interest in facing Manny Pacquiao on the heels of his draw with Mario Barrios. Rolly Romero, he did the same.
They both said they want to fight Manny.
Now it's reported They're fighting each other. They're fighting again. I don't know who's at the helm of promotion, but it matters. It matters if this is a Golden Boy show that Golden Boy is promoting, because that would absolutely give Ryan the edge.
Can Ryan win the rematch?
If Golden Boy Promotions is at the helm of the promotion, he absolutely can, where they'll be a lot more lax with the anti-doping testing, where Ryan may be allowed to
cheat,
use his Osterin to get back in form.
I'm not interested in this rematch. I'm not interested in this fight. But I imagine some of the younger boxing fans who maybe follow Ryan's social media or Romero's quirky sound bites, maybe they're excited about this. I'm not. These two guys suck.
They're both terrible.
I don't give a damn if they're popular. They're both shit boxers. The both of them. When did Americans start caring more about popularity than ability? Because anybody can look at these two and see, yeah, you ain't cut from the same cloth as a Crawford or a Canelo, an Inoue or an Usyk.
Did American boxing fall off so hard that in place of ability, they'll settle for popularity? That these two guys are known, they're more known than some other boxers, even though they're both shit.
Do you think this one does better than the first one?
I'm not sure. When the majority of people that support a Romero aren't people that buy pay-per-views.
These are young people that are online all day, watching YouTube videos that are free.
Ryan's stock isn't what it used to be, it's just not. From being on Clout 9 last year after defeating Devin Haney in a big upset, he was upset himself by Rolly.
I don't know how many people want to pay $80 to see these two run it back.
I don't know. I don't even know who's behind this event. Did Turkey decide to pay for the rematch, or are they doing this independently, amongst themselves, between the PBC and Golden Boy? We don't yet have those details. All I know is,
I'm not excited. I've never had a high opinion of either Rolly's boxing or Ryan's boxing.
they're both shit. I could have went the rest of my life without these two running it back, and I wouldn't have batted an eyelash over it. Wouldn't care. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, veteran boxing scribe Mike Coppinger reacted to the new news involving the Ali Act and the addition of what are being called UBOs. The Ali Revival Act doesn't seek to replace the existing Ali Act, but rather add to it by creating unified boxing organizations where new entities can offer fighters matchups in a structure that doesn't mandate they contend with the pay-to-play sanctioning body system. Congressman Brian Jack of Georgia today introduced a bipartisan boxing bill backed by TKO that aims to create a parallel system to the current sanctioning body structure that has been an impediment to new players entering the sport. The sanctioning bodies, the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF will still exist if this bill passes, but fighters will have the optionality if they don't wish to fight in a system that requires to pay sanctioning fees to move up rankings. That ranking system is enforced by the 1996 Ali Act, to which WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman responded, "Dear Mike, your assessment is not accurate. No fighter, manager, promoter, nobody pays to be ranked. WBC rankings are based on merit. The sanctioning fees that are paid by boxers are from competing in championship fights. I invite you to talk about the system so you may inform our side of the story."
Mauricio thought that he was being clever, that they only charge sanctioning fees for title fights, but look at how many titles the WBC has in circulation. Regional titles like Intercontinental,
International, and of course the interim title, the full title. At any given moment, the WBC could have upwards of 2 to 3, maybe even 4 titles in rotation at a given weight. Multiply that by the 16 or 17 weight classes in the sport of boxing, to where if you're collecting sanctioning fees for every single one of those trinket titles, you can make a nice chunk of change.
You don't fool anybody, Mauricio. And that's if we take your comments at face value. Anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together knows there's more going on behind the scenes than just that.
The inconsistencies you often see within the WBC, what fights they order and what fights they don't, who gets preferential treatment and professional courtesies, and who doesn't.
So let's address something. These revisions to the Muhammad Ali Act, amendments, I should say, do not threaten alphabet organizations like the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, or the IBF.
They're not in jeopardy, and neither is boxing's existing infrastructure. This only adds to it.
It's a small corner, a very small corner, that will allow Turkey and Dana White and the people at TKO to build their bubble.
Because that's what it's going to be. And you're telling yourself that, well, theoretically, this could make boxing more fragmented if you allow for the existence of these UBOs like TKO Boxing.
How many more of these groups can we expect to pop up? That's what you're asking yourself. You need to flesh out that idea.
I already told you in my previous video, Matchroom isn't going to come out with a Matchroom belt. I don't expect Top Rank to come out with a Top Rank belt or PBC.
Nope.
Attempting to operate as a UBO for them would be more trouble than it's worth, and it's really not necessary. Now, if what you're talking about is some outside party outside of the usual suspects and outside of TKO.
Oh no, I don't expect that either, because to operate as a UBO, you would need the same financial backing as TKO that's got the WWE,
right,
the UFC,
right,
Riyadh Season and Sella, all in the same pot. That's a lot of money that most people don't have.
Talking about people within boxing, within the boxing space, they don't have the same financial backing that TKO does. That's what makes this possible for them, that they have so much means and so much money.
Oh yeah, they can do it. They can be their own little UBO.
Because they have the resources. But how many other entities out there have the same resources as all of them? And suddenly, you realize you ain't got nothing to worry about boxing becoming as fragmented as mixed martial arts with all of these different fighting federations.
More than you can name, and some that you've never heard of.
It's not going to happen with boxing, because in case you forgot, this is all within the American boxing space. The Muhammad Ali Act outside of America isn't even a thing. It's not a thing in the UK, or Japan, or Eastern Europe, or Australia, or Mexico.
Or the parts of Latin America, it's not a thing. It's not even a thing. This is not as big a deal as the Americans are making it out to be.
All it really does is it allows an interested party to finance their own league. But of course, to finance your own league, you need the finances.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, you need the patronage. You need the audience.
What do you think? You're just going to finance your own league with boxers that nobody knows and nobody watches and still be able to stay afloat? We don't actually know that this TKO thing is even going to work. And even if it does, it's being backed by some very powerful people. That doesn't mean that success would translate over to anybody else.
Everybody else? Everybody who wants to start their own little league? Yeah, right. They ain't got the money.
This is just like when news first broke about this TKO group and how people grossly overestimated what effect it would have on the boxing space.
These revisions to the Muhammad Ali Act are being grossly overestimated. It's a gross over-exaggeration about what's going to happen moving forward.
But in this digital age of clickbait and knee-jerk reactions before all the facts come out naturally, anybody predicting an apocalypse is sure to get a lot of attention, and that's what they want. I'm here to tell you that reality is a lot more mundane.